All right, we reached the fifth stanza of Psalms 119 as we continue to walk through it, highlighting the requests that are in this psalm in hopes that it breathes freshness in how we think about making requests to God, or maybe a freshness in what we think about asking God to do in our lives. Now, this fifth stanza actually has 9 requests in its 8 verses. And there's actually a grammatical reason for that. If you remember, I said earlier that Psalms 119 is broken into a large acrostic that every stanza has a letter of the Hebrew alphabet attributed to it, to where each verse begins with that letter. So making it to the fifth stanza, the Greek letter for this stanza is the letter He, which is the letter that would be attached to the beginning of verbs that would make it causative, cause me to learn, cause me to understand, cause me to be led this way. And so it flows that this would be a stanza that is just filled with requests. So here's the fifth stanza. Teach me, O Lord, the way of your statutes, and I will keep it to the end. Give me understanding that I may keep your law and observe it with my whole heart. Lead me in the path of your commandments, for I delight in it. Incline my heart to your testimonies and not to selfish gain. Turn my eyes from looking at worthless things and give me life in your ways. Confirm to your servant your promise that you may be feared. Turn away the reproach that I dread, for your rules are good. Behold, I long for your precepts. In your righteousness, give me life. Now, we're only going to look at 2 of the requests in this psalm, the 2 in the middle of the psalm, where the psalmist asks God to turn his heart, incline my heart to your testimonies, and not to selfish gain. The psalmist in this request is getting to the very center of what is true change in our lives, and that is within the heart. It is one thing to make us see something that we should do. It's another thing to make us understand why we need to do it. Maybe another level is actually going to the action of doing it. But it's completely another thing to actually get us to want to do it. This really gets in the aspect of we see it in our parenting. We can get a child to see a need, maybe then another level would be they understand the need. Like, you need to clean this room. Do you see it as dirty? There's already a battle there for them to see that that is a dirty room by our definition. Maybe even another battle is to get them to understand the need for the cleanliness of that room. A whole other thing then to get obedience out there, but none of that is truly the goal or the aim of parenting. The aim is the heart. And the psalmist here is getting to that aim. And this is the same thing with us spiritually. I fear so often we think through Christianity in an aspect of understanding, an aspect of knowing, of knowledge, and an understanding, an aspect of obedience. And we often miss the affection side of it. And the affection side of things is the work of God. It has changed my heart, God. This is Philippians 2. For it is God who is working in you both to will and to do work his good pleasure. It is God that is even giving you the desire to go about this. Now, if I don't have the desire, it is not like I just get to sit back and say, well, God, I'm waiting for you to give me the desire, then I'll go about and do something. It is I'm still being faithful to do what I know I'm supposed to do. I am praying then to God that he continues to work in my life to give me the desire more and more. This is the real reality the psalmist is confessing. God, there's a whole bunch of my heart that longs after selfishness, myself, and not what you say is right and good in yourself and you. I think this is true of all of us. God, there is so much of my heart that is focused upon me. And even our requests show that sometimes. God, my requests are more about selfish gain than actually you and your glory and your word and your obedience to you. So would you turn my heart away from my own selfishness and cause me to see and to love and to incline my heart to you today? The next request in the next verse is also a turning aspect, and it's a turning of focus. Turn my eyes off of things that are worthless, things that are empty, and give me life in your ways. It is God, take my focus off of what really doesn't even matter. And cause me to focus on what actually has life-giving ability to it. I think one of the biggest things we have to ask then is what is worthless? That's not everything else in life. We do a lot of things that have a lot of value to it. But in just thinking that through in my own life, I think this request causes me to think through how often I become distracted away from wrestling with God's word, spending time in God's word with what is truly completely worthless. Where we gravitate to picking up our phone, where we waste time being entertained instead of actually going to what gives us life, and that is God's word. So 2 requests out of 9 here. You could look at all the other ones today before you begin a time in prayer. But 2 to consider. 1 is getting to the very heart of what we are about. God, I need you to change my desires. I'm going to be faithful, but would you continue to work in my heart that I actually long for these things? I long to walk with you. I long to obey you. And 1, and then 2, then would you change my focus? I so often, God, put my focus upon things that just don't even matter. They're going to pass away. All right, we're continuing to pray together. I pray that these would give you maybe some thought, and this passage would, as you continue to go to God in prayer this week. God bless.